Through knowledge, expression, and reflection, we have the opportunity to empower the Pomona community. We break apart the door of no return and use the fragments to build a new space where the community can learn, express themselves, and reflect. The programs driven by these ideas include a museum, kids center, and meditation cafe. Using 2nd Street as a threshold which embraces downtown Pomona, we welcome the community with outdoor classrooms, large gathering spaces, and serene gardens.
Now looking at our urban mapping diagram, we wanted to look at surrounding schools and education centers within Pomona and outside of Pomona to start drawing these connections and relationships or some of the influences these schools can have towards our site. So throughout our site, we wanted to communicate and express a historical African American experience to help them feel empowered through knowledge.
We then wanted to direct our attention to the surrounding context of the site. Our main focus was to bring in people from the Metro Amtrak station, the Pomona Civic Center, and most importantly, 2nd Street. We wanted to continue the experience that lives on 2nd Street and bring it into the African American Museum site using a promenade experience. When we started to think about the urban design, we took into consideration our idea of reinterpreting the door of no return. So we decided to deconstruct the door and turn those deconstructions into figure grounds that would inform the design. Then we started to think about the program in relation to our key concept words. This diagram shows the program between knowledge, expression, and reflection. Knowledge being the most important building, it sits directly on 2nd Street, and it also acts as a bridge between expression and reflection. The pathways in between the buildings act as a connection between the whole site.
When we start looking at the site plan, we also wanted to think about the circulation throughout the site. And so we have this main path that connects all of the buildings, like expression, the museum, and the reflection building, as well as secondary paths throughout the landscape, which provides kind of like a guide throughout the site. And so we actually just wanted to focus on the programming as well throughout that Danielle had touched upon. And so we have an education center, a museum, and the knowledge building, which is the biggest program. We also have a gallery and a kids center in the expression building. Also for expression, we have an outdoor experience. For reflection, we have a cafe bookstore within the reflection building. And then we also have a meditation space as well as outdoor classrooms in the lower left side of the landscape.
Our plant palette was designed to represent knowledge, expression, and reflection to overall achieve empowerment.
The knowledge building sits directly on 2nd Street, which allows for easy accessibility to the public. The building is inspired by the abstractions of the door of no return to reclaim and empower the African American community. The solid and void relationship of the figure ground informed the overall design. The museum and education center are bridged together to allow for an experience that will help bring clarity to a complex African American history. Throughout the project, there are areas where people can learn, connect, and reflect. The bottom half of the project allows for public spaces, while the bridging above encourages learning and engagement. The clarity boxes act as guides for people to come together and reflect. The main glass conversation cube will be the ultimate area of gathering with the view of 2nd Street, and it pushes people to continue their African American education.
The expression building, which sits on the northeast side of the site, explores the relationship between the existing path and how it directly impacts the building. And so a kind of threshold relationship is created within the building itself, and that comes from the derived idea of the figure grounds and the door no return. And so we wanted to create a new positive outlook for the Pomona community. And so this new outlook kind of is manifested in the idea of expression, with the programs being a children's space as well as a gallery. And so the relationship of the programs is also manifested through the form, which is kind of this knot or intersecting between the middle of the building. And so what it does is that it emphasizes having a continuous circulation. And so that's emphasized with a ramping system that continues throughout the entire building. And so it kind of just connects both of the programs, the children's as well as the gallery, which is there for the existing 2nd Street artists.
The elevations of empowerment are a performance space located at the center of our site that are designed to encourage expression. This is the largest outdoor gathering space on site with the capability to hold almost 5,000 people. This space is designed to achieve empowerment through expression. One example of this is expression through protest. Other programs that could be achieved through this space are farmers market, movie night, or music festival. The planting in the performance space consists of knowledge and expression plants, shown here. The performance space brings the entire site together, connecting knowledge, expression, and reflection, and empowering the Pomona community.
Through the Passage to Empowerment, which is located on the southwest corner of our site, visitors will circulate through a total of 4 spaces. Those being a space for outdoor classrooms, which are located right as visitors exit the south side of the museum. And continuing down south, there's one active gathering space that consists of an interactive water feature where kids can play and splash in this open expressive space. And as you continue more down south, there is a passive gathering space that consists of hammock groves where people can relax in this calming, relaxing space. And as visitors or people move towards the east side of the site, this is a more meditation space, which consists of a meditation pavilion where people can meditate and reflect on everything that they experience throughout the museum. So all of these spaces revolve around our big idea of empowerment and our 3 principles, which are knowledge, expression, and reflection. As visitors explore through all these spaces, they will experience passing through these clearings within this dense forest of trees, or in other words, thresholds, which relates back to the door of no return that we all incorporated throughout our entire site. So, but we wanted to flip that idea of the door of no return into a more positive and safe emotional experience to have a better connection and understanding of African American history and how we can empower them. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.